to Cooper Cup. Sing it louder from the back of every bar or the subway, on the streets or in your car. Wherever you have found yourself, scream out your battle cry. I'm all in.
All in? I'm a fan of the Jets. I'm a fan of the Jets. The Jets. The Jets. Why this team? The Jets. Ah, the Jets! The Jets!
It is time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Weekend observations brought to you by Miller Lights. Great taste, 96 calories, available for delivery. Dan, it started over the weekend and will continue all week long. Cinderellas, buzzer beaters, the punching of tickets, and most importantly, we'll discover a big, tall, white, slightly overweight center with ridiculous hair who makes us smile.
That's right.
And Dan, just like that, make no mistake about it, championship week is back.
I don't think I've ever seen Stugotz this gung-ho about March.
Oh, we have a March. I mean, we have franchise tag day tomorrow. We have championship week all week long. Then we have March Madness, the Knicks. The Jets might be getting Aaron Rodgers. What a March we have in store for us. I mean, it's a March, right?
Other than the Jet stuff, it's just a March.
It's like every other March.
Are they going to screw it up on Aaron Rodgers?
God, I hope.
We're now rooting, right, for the Jets to get left out.
Well, Lamar Jackson's out there as well. That's what tag day is all about. Tag, you're it. I mean, how about that? The Jets make an offer. The Ravens, they can match it. If they don't, the Jets have to give up 2 first-round picks to get Lamar Jackson.
Dolphins could do that too.
March. Speaking of back, but likely not for long, Jon Jones. Will Levis said of himself, I have a cannon, and I want to show it off. Thankfully, he later clarified he was talking about his arm. Ja Morant, seriously, what the fuck are you doing? I mean, who stays out until 5:30 a.m.? Yeah. What are you doing? He's risking everything.
Yeah.
Go home.
That's right. Go to bed like us at 9 p.m.
I did enjoy the Ja Wick memes that were going out there.
Stugotz is strong in him, huh?
Yeah, I would say.
It wasn't someone else videotaping him.
Yeah.
It was him
Just doing that
videotaping himself.
while the block is hot.
Was that indeed directed at Shannon Sharp? Or we don't know what the starting point on it
I
was?
don't know what that guy was thinking. They didn't even announce it as a suspension. It's just like a cool down period, right?
Well, it's gone indefinitely, and his last sentence on his statement was about, mental well-being. But what are you doing? He's posturing. He's posturing on Instagram as the future face of the league and Nike. And I'm not even totally sure it'd be bad for his brand if your brand is, I'm a 23-year-old screw-up.
Well, how's it good? I don't get it.
I don't think that's the brand.
How
that
is
he's
this
going
good?
For. It is an element of danger outside of the 17-year-old that was allegedly assaulted. So far, this has been manageable for Ja Morant. Him waving around a gun on IG, while terrible optics, awful and dumb in any situation, but especially dumb when you're in the news for what you're in the news for. All this stuff is manageable. So now you can put a little dash of infamy around his fame and a little element of danger, and you'll see. And he plays such a fun style of basketball that younger folks are going to gravitate towards him anyways.
On a team that people find polarizing.
Right, and they have a nice rivalry with Golden State, and even though Draymond's super annoying, Steph is the golden child, so now you have a polar opposite of that, and it's not... I do see this maybe increasing his profile.
But it also requires that this comes to a stop at a certain point. That he doesn't just carry on being someone where...
Like now.
Yeah.
Yes.
He is more famous today than he was last week. And a lot of that is because of the infamy.
He's already among the more famous basketball
but now
players.
he's,
I think he was had the most impressions on social media last year with his highlights. Kids that consume basketball through social media love Ja Morant.
Right. Well, I just as someone that was a teenager and a kid throughout like the Allen Iverson thing, and someone that was gravitating towards Allen Iverson because he was different than everybody else, and he felt dangerous, and the leagues were changing dress codes because this person was a threat or just scaring folks because of how he carried himself about. It's weird to talk about it in those terms, but it absolutely was the case. And Ja kind of is having a little bit of that Allen Iverson, slow down before someone gets hurt. You're a little dangerous. And when you pair that against someone, say, like Steph in a rivalry, that's how you become... That's how you go from star, and I would classify him as a superstar, but that's where you start transcending.
Well, you could beat him, too. I mean, that helps.
Right, but
I
individually, his
saying,
celebrity
Mike.
has
Right.
grown.
Yeah.
Because of these off-court
For the wrong
antics.
reasons, but I understand.
Wrong reasons,
Yes.
but his celebrity has indeed grown.
Dan, ready to feel older than you've ever felt in your life? By a lot. Are you ready?
Yep.
I'm certain. Like, hang on. Like, brace yourself. Adrian Beltre's son is in the majors.
There are a lot of those, Stugotz.
They're all in the Blue Jays.
Yeah, they're all in the Blue Jays.
All the kids are playing now, and all the guys who we knew as players are now the managers.
Miami Hurricanes, do it in the tournament. Philadelphia 76ers, do it in the postseason. By the way, I learned Adrian Beltre Sr. was no longer in the majors when I learned that his son was. I thought he was still raking.
A reasonable assumption by you.
I thought he'd always be raking.
Always in a contract here.
Yep. Jon Bones Jones doing something awful over the next 14 days to negate the good he did over the weekend. Collision course. No coach I'd rather have on my sidelines in a must-lose game other than Greg Popovich, who one might say might be doing his best coaching job ever. Pop.
Billy, why are you shaking your head?
Those were two great losses by the San Antonio Spurs. I mean, amazing. And terrible wins by the Rockets.
There's stuff happening behind the scenes here, Dan. back to a former segment, something that happened where Chris was talking about a player who's deathly afraid of milk, and then tried to double source it by reaching out to the person that tweeted it to get the person to confirm that that was in fact the case, but has now been sent or seen a video of this person putting almond milk in their coffee.
Yeah, I'm just going down rabbit holes of Will Levis videos, trying to see if I can get him talking about anything. And he said he did the mayo thing, kind of a joke with his girlfriend, but he actually likes almond milk in his coffee. Not regular milk, so he could technically still be deathly afraid of regular
All right,
milk.
stay on that. Get
Yeah.
back to us. Thank you.
Do almonds have nipples?
It's a good question. How do they get the milk?
Something to ponder.
Put it on the poll.
Put it on the poll, Juju. Do almonds have nipples?
The Rockets, back-to-back wins over the Spurs, might be the worst back-to-back wins in NBA history. The Spurs just wanted it less. San Antonio, don't look now, but here come the Pistons. This is an exciting race. It is for Wembanyama, whatever his name is.
You're not going to get it right the entire time he's playing, right?
I don't even know if he's good. I mean,
Yeah, he's
Victor.
7'5" and growing.
Old Vic. It's going to be that good.
I mean,
That Pop is willing to lose. He's losing games intentionally. No one's investigating
Stugotz,
it. The Rockets are out there trying to win games, which is dumb.
if I tell you best prospect since LeBron by consensus, who doesn't want that?
I mean, I feel like I've heard that before.
Who?
Sounds like knee issues.
Zion Williamson.
Possible, sure.
You know. Anthony Richardson set quarterback marks for the vertical and broad jump at the combine. Sounds like he'd be the number one pick in the draft if the quarterbacks got together every Sunday to compete in a decathlon. Vert.
You said that the Rockets are trying to win, while their owner was quoted at a Mardi Gras parade saying, "quote Pray for Victor."
That coach is going to get fired. I mean,
It's Stugotz. It doesn't. They're locked into their 5 games.
I
better
know the
than
3,
Orlando,
and then we do
Charlotte.
lottery balls and all that.
They have the same number of lottery balls as the other teams in the bottom 3.
Yeah, but the Spurs are showing old Vic that they want him. I mean, it means nothing in the grand scheme of things.
Doesn't. But still,
Except when he becomes a free agent. Then he says, that coach wanted me more than anybody.
you have Greg Popovich coaching in 7 years.
Whoa.
Yeah, I do,
if he gets
actually.
Victor.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
because Victor.
Yes.
He's already talked about retiring.
Oh,
To your point that this is Greg Popovich's coaching job, best coaching job, they didn't just lose to the Rockets. They lost by 32 to
I
the
know.
Rockets.
I know.
That is a nadir as a franchise.
A what?
To lose to this Rockets team by 32 points. A nadir.
I thought it was Nader.
Christ, man.
Stugotz thought
You
it was
had to be
reindeer.
Ralph Nader.
I thought it was Nader. Yes.
Pretty certain it's nadir. I'll look it up.
It's
What do you guys-
unnecessary. I'll just keep saying it wrong.
what are you talking about, both of you?
He thought it was a low point. He
It's
couldn't
a
say
tomato,
low point.
tomato.
He wanted to say he couldn't just say low point. He cannot. He can't help himself.
He's not allowed to say that.
He has to do that.
It's a better word than low point, isn't it? The nadir. You've reached the nadir.
But the whole idea of talking is people knowing what you say.
And the whole point of doing this is relating to people.
Yeah, I mean,
As
that,
many people as you can.
that bit I'm not so certain about.
it's not true in any
For,
way.
to Chris Cote's point, that's a good point. People, I'm speaking to a microphone. I would hope they understand what I'm saying.
It is a
but-
key thing, but very often you choose the word that is has more of a flourish to it.
It's a good word.
But
I hope people in everyday life now use the word nadir, that 1% more.
But results in fewer people understanding what you were trying to communicate.
Fair?
Sticking to it.
Okay. Sea Dragons, Vipers, shootout. Like I said a week ago, Ben DiNucci, XFL MVP, collision course, Ben DiCucci. Although Brandon Silvers might have something to say about that, Dan, you know what the S in Silvers stands for?
I do not, Stugotz. I'm sorry.
It stands for something to say about that. Suns are now 3-0 with Kevin Durant. I'll remind you, the Suns were 64-18 a year ago without him.
Uh-oh.
What are we doing? 3-0 with Kevin Durant. They were 64-18 for an entire season without Kevin Durant. It's unbelievable.
What's unbelievable? You don't
That he's the missing piece to this team, a team who couldn't get it done without Kevin Durant. I'm not giving any of them rings. Not a one of them.
Oh, my God.
Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton gets one. Ayton gets one.
Wait, what? Why
I don't know.
Why just Ayton?
I like the idea of Ayton having one and Durant not.
Ayton gets one?
I don't know who the fifth starter on that team is, but he's getting one too. Who is it? I'll wait here all day. Someone tell me the fifth starter on the Phoenix Suns.
I mean,
Do they even have one?
no, Stugotz. They're playing with 4 guys.
They'd still win.
Chris Paul did catch them. Dallas playing with 4 guys.
Who is the fifth starter?
We can just wait here.
I think
if
it's
you want,
Leandro
Stugotz.
Barbosa.
Really?
Yeah.
Raja Bell.
Yeah, Boris Diaw.
They'd win a title with Barbosa, right? As their fifth starter.
What are you doing?
I mean, the team's good.
You're saying none of them are going to win the title.
Well,
yes,
my
we know
personal
they're good.
record book,
Yes,
except for
we know-
DeAndre Ayton.
We know they're good. Yes, and this mystery fifth starter that
I'm
none
gonna find him
that
right
none
now.
of us know, even though we should probably know it. Somebody on our show
I can't
should
pronounce
probably
his
know
name, yeah. Ogie.
Okogie?
Yeah. He gets a ring. What happened to Cam Thomas?
That was a couple of exciting games. Everybody got very excited.
He
there
had
for-
like 4 straight 40-point games. He's on the bench now. I guess that's what happened to him. Mavs 3-6 since acquiring Kyrie. Hey, Luca, still having fun? Dan, you know what the K in Kyrie stands for? Culture killer. Clippers 1-5 since acquiring Russell Westbrook. Hey, Paul George, still having fun? Anthony Davis, congratulations on going an entire weekend without getting hurt. I take Anthony Richardson, number 1 overall, simply because he referred to himself as Cam Jackson. I could listen to Will Levis talk about Will Levis all day. Oh, March. Daniel Jones, that's 390 million dimes they offered you. That's a lot of money.
Yes, it
It's
is.
a lot of dimes.
It is.
The Jets are going to fuck this up. Sorry. Things are happening, Dan. On my Twitter, I can't concentrate on these. And now it's official. Derek Carr to the Saints. Official.
Yep.
Official. That leaves 2.
After many visits,
That leaves 2.
many visits to the Jets.
He told the Jets he wanted to be there.
Garoppolo's still out there somewhere.
Oh, he is. That's right. We're back.
Tannehill is out there somewhere.
I don't want him. I mean, when you're flirting with A-Rod and Lamar Jackson, you can't settle for Tannehill. You can't.
But if they're going to screw it up, isn't that the way they screw it up?
No, if they screw it up, they get none of them. I mean, that's how they do it. I have to think the Jets know something if they allow Derek Carr to go to the Saints. I have to, right?
Why would you ever assume the Jets know anything?
Oh, shit, we're doomed. Fairleigh Dickinson got into the tournament via forfeit. More like unfairly Dickinson. The Knights. Good experience. Guard play. Great coach. It's March. Unfairly. I mean, what kind of rule is that? We're not going to get the best 60 whatever teams in the country. How many teams are there now in the tournament?
68.
We're not going to get it because a team moved conferences, and because they did so, they're not eligible for the tournament for 4 years. But they're the number 1 seed in the conference. Unfairly Dickinson.
3 times. A third. They
I'm so proud of it. Thought of it on the plane last night. AJ McCarron, congratulations on taking a 98% pay cut so your kids could see you lose to a combination of Jordan Tiamu and De'Aaron King. If AJ McCarron's financial advisor hasn't slapped him in the head yet, he should. You agree? What the hell are you doing? Your kids don't even care. They're eating ice cream and sleeping by the second quarter.
I know. That's why Billy called him a dum-dum.
Mm-hmm. Arlington Renegades survive in advance. Paxton Lynch is 0-3 in the XFL. On the bright side, he wasn't benched. Dan, the New York Knickerbockers?
9 in a row.
It's a question.
9 in a row.
Suns, Mavs, Chippy, Luka has to have bad breath.
Does he?
Yes.
He's getting bigger as the season's going on.
How?
That's typically not the way that cardio is supposed to work when you're playing at that level. He's growing in size.
But bad breath. What? Like are you?
Luka.
But okay. But thank you. But
He was right in Devin Booker's face. That could not have been pleasant for Devin Booker. I mean, that's all I'm saying. He looks like he has bad breath. Like Vladdy.
Okay, now you're just doing this with foreigners. Now it's just they
How
look
dare
like they
you.
smell like cigarettes. Like what? That Lucas should play with a cigarette in his mouth. He should.
I'm not just doing it with foreigners. I mean, Warren Sapp's not foreign. I mean,
Kick, save, and a butte.
you told us that. Broke the news. Bad breath? I feel like in my prime, I might be able to take Luka in a fight.
Are you kidding me?
My prime versus his prime.
Are you kidding me? Mike Ryan just
And maybe Devin
Look,
Booker.
I'm not even making
sure.
this up.
I might be able to take Booker.
I'm not even making this up. I don't know why this was a conversation in the commissary, but
can
it
take
was. Mike Ryan, for some reason, just blurted. I was walking past him, and this is the statement that he made. I would not fight Ed Orgeron right now.
Kick my ass.
He would kick everybody's ass in here, one by one.
Agreed.
One by one, every one. We'd come at him as
Not
an
talking
army
about
of
Ed, though.
an army of zombies, and he would beat every one of us up.
Stugotz, Luka's 6'7".
Yeah, he's fat.
You're the picture. Oh, but you in your prime.
In my
Yeah,
prime.
okay.
Prime me.
Yeah,
Prime me.
Yeah.
Yes, prime me.
prime you at
Clark University.
Lacrosse, the
Sophomore season.
goaltender.
Prime was how
for-
tall?
I had a season for the ages.
Yes,
prime you was how tall?
Same height I am now.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, that's working against you.
perhaps lost a half inch or so.
Why do you think that you can beat up Luka?
He just seems slow. I don't know what it is about
you-
Luka.
what
How
do you
is he
think
good
you
at
give off?
basketball?
What do you
What do you
doing?
give off?
No,
What are
it's
you
his prime,
doing?
guys. You're
My
not listening.
prime.
Let me see your
My
jab.
prime.
Let me see your
My
jab.
prime. No, you have to see it in my prime. I mean,
Do that.
Yeah.
Boxing.
in my prime. In my prime. Now, not so good. I mean, I'm 50. He's 20-something, I think. In my prime.
Now what are you doing?
How about you as
You
a
think?
50-year-old versus Luka as a 50-year-old?
I kick his ass.
Yeah.
That's not going to age well. I haven't aged well.
Well, you're
granted.
not going to be alive
Yeah.
when he turns 50, so
That's
you're
a good.
fine.
That's yeah.
Jeez.
No, he's
Ouch.
right. Well, he's 25 years away from that.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Give it to you. No, you'll get there.
Nah.
Debatable.
Do have to change some habits.
How many more Dead and Company tours between now and then?
There's one left.
Dude, it's Grateful
No, there's
Dead
not.
night at the Panthers game this week, I think.
Yeah, I know. There's one tour remaining.
No, there's not.
Yes, there is. You think there's more?
There's going to be
I
some
hope
other
there's more.
incarnation. Yeah.
You're gonna go to all the shows this summer because it's their last one. Gotta get to the one in the Nassau Coliseum. No chance.
They're gonna be
No chance.
tricking him into his 90s. He's gonna be rolling a dialysis machine out there.
To Cancun. Will Levis is allegedly afraid of milk. In other words, he's afraid of the Bosas, the Watts, and Aiden Hutchinson.
He's not afraid of milk.
Well, that's what the reporter with a blue check mark said.
Still on it.
Mm-hmm. A tradition unlike any other. Hell Week on Wall Street. Speaking of hell, Art Briles. Dan, those are the weekend observations.
How
March.
much of this does Stugotz still have in him? Just all of it, because he is hurting because he's come in from another weekend of doing God knows what, and when he goes on these Grateful Dead tours, he takes a pounding.
That's not what I was doing this weekend. I mean, but I do take a pounding. Traveling is harder as you grow older.
You're just discovering this. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you're not 20.
The wear and tear on the body.
Stugotz,
But in my prime, I would kick Luca's ass.
Of all the funny things about Stugotz's delusions, one of the funniest is that he still thinks he's 25.
I do, man. I don't want to get old. Yet here I am. Older than I've ever been.
It's the case every day.
Yes, it is.
We don't get younger, Dan.
No, that's not the way that one works, unless you're Tom Brady. I wanted to go back to a conversation that broke out in the middle of Weekend Observations, Stugotz, because we were talking last week as the Washington Post put out these stories on Ja Morant. The reason I want to talk about this is through the construct of the league's older guys, older stories. A league that thrives on stories is the social media league. They need young stars.
They do.
Kevin Durant is now going to Phoenix, and Kevin Durant is I noticed this I just caught part of his interview a while ago with David Letterman, and it was weird to see him smile. Like legitimately strange to be like, oh, that's what the smile looks like. I hadn't realized that for as much as he talks about joy in basketball, and he does love to play basketball, his last few years have been joyless, and they've turned the league upside down. What brings it back? A young, light guy. Looks frail. How is he dunking on everybody? How do I appeal to young people with this sport? Now he's 23, and the league has to look different. Shaq and Charles are complaining about everybody now. They sound like your grandparents. Like they're complaining about everybody. They're the voice of the most popular show. Telling you, hey, load management. Charles is telling everybody. They're not steel mill workers. He's not wrong. $60 million a year. Ja is going to be the biggest in that sport if he wins. Because he doesn't do it the way Steph does. Oh, no, he's going among the Giants now, and he's dunking on everybody. But what's he doing on the internet? Like, why are you in the middle of that at 23 years old? Because I don't want to underestimate him. I don't want to dismiss him as a dummy. I don't want to get consumed by the stereotypes that he plays to when he's trying to give off gangster. But what's he doing? Like, I ask.
I think a lot of people would say, I don't know if they would call him a dummy. They would say what he is doing is dumb. What he is doing is jeopardizing hundreds of millions of dollars and his future.
But is he, though? Because he's behaving like somebody.
He absolutely is.
But Stugotz, he's behaving like someone who's above the rules, and he's getting a couple of games for waving a gun or an indefinite.
Well, it's indefinite now.
It's now indefinite, but. I just ask you, when marketing to young people in a new age that I can't possibly understand, the TikTok generation, I'm out on all of that. What makes things popular to kids? I don't have any access to it. But once upon a time, this made Allen Iverson popular to kids. All of whatever that was that we didn't think was posturing, that we thought it was authentic Iverson, that he can't play within the rules. Like he's going to be more amazing than everybody else, but man, he was going to take the league from Jordan.
But doesn't Ja's play make him popular with kids? Like just the way he plays the game, the aggressive, hard nature way, the dunks over tall people. Doesn't that stuff make him popular with kids, or this makes him popular with more kids? I don't know.
I don't know if it makes him popular, but it makes him more part of the conversation, which increases his profile, and he's got edge to him. Edge that hopefully remains at what this is, which is a manageable controversy, a dumb one nonetheless, but it's manageable, and no one's gotten too hurt so far.
But, Mike, I never looked at Ja Morant and said, there's a guy who doesn't have an edge. That guy has edge.
Yeah, maybe you're...
Like he plays with an edge.
Yeah, he plays with an edge. But now he's got the off-court stuff, and gives off not only is his play dangerous, but he might be dangerous.
And Dylan Brooks is being quoted, Stugotz, in Memphis. Memphis has been going back and forth at Golden State. When I talk about storylines, I talk about stories you've gotten tired of. The Golden State Warriors are petering out. Do they have the only story left on the Golden State Warriors are, do they get extinguished right now?
Right.
Or can they somehow summon whatever championship thing is required to get over a lot of teams that seem to be a good deal better than them this year. They've been going back and forth with Memphis. Dylan Brooks says of Draymond Green, don't like him at all. And if you took him out of Golden State, he's nice there, but if you took him out of Golden State, he'd be a nobody. Memphis is real chatty. They are a young team. They're fighting with Shannon Sharp. They don't want to be your grandpa's team. Golden State keeps telling them, we got 4, holding 4 fingers in their face. Young ones, you're not ready for any of this. We've got 4, you've got none. It's true now. But this team, if it's doing laser pointers, chasing the Pacers, like what's happening in Memphis when a team that we know is on the rise and a star we know is on the rise?
And a team that leans into their identity, has been for several years over there. The grindhouse, hard-nosed, like we'll get under your skin. They'll play whoop that trick at their arenas. Like they kind of lean into this identity, and Ja Morant on the court has embodied that Memphis grindhouse culture. And now off the court, it's a profile that is dangerous. He does come off as this is a whole cool down period. Like quit being dangerous. What are you doing waving a gun around? There's a bit of menace. You're beating people up. I think if he gets out ahead of it, because he certainly has a load to lose. He is discussed as next face of the league type stuff because he's so brilliant on the court and because of how he goes about being brilliant. It's such a cool way to do it. I really hope he doesn't continue going down this path because it's already altering his career some.
Dylan Brooks, it has not yet. It is not. It doesn't. To date, this costs him nothing.
Right. I mean, it's cost him games.
Cost him games right now.
But I'm talking about benefit of the doubt. Whatever the punishments are, Mike's right. The currency now is attention. The currency is how do you, when you keep birthing power, whether it's Kyrie Irving or Kevin Durant or the next guy who's coming, Ja Durant must feel in Memphis like a god, making that team matter, playing that way. You think sports is us against the world? Go ahead and put that team in Memphis and see how all of that feels, because they don't get to matter like that in sports. Unless it's Zach Randolph, one of their most beloved players with an attitude, a style, regional identity. Memphis goes hard. And this team, as a representative for Memphis, wants to fight you. Dylan Brooks shows up to the games dressed like Stone Cold from the Field Austin. Like he's wearing a vest and shirtless, and he wants to fight people, and he tells you out loud he doesn't want anything. He's like, I don't like Draymond Green. Wouldn't be anything anywhere else. Who does that? How much of that disrespect are you getting as a 4-time champion? These guys want that stuff. All they've done is talk so far. They haven't won anything, and Ja got hurt, but the guy who leads them is a basketball menace. And now's the time that you build these stories. You know how much we're going to be talking about this if he starts winning games at the end during the playoffs? Like the season of Ja Morant, the controversial season of Ja Morant, who's not yesterday's star. He's not Steph Curry. That's not what he's selling.
No, he's going to the rim and he's throwing down dunks on guys who are a lot taller.
But it's not what he's selling elsewhere either. He's not.
Of course.
He's not.
Not even close.
He's not selling Steph. Man,
he doesn't want to sell that.
He sort of was though up until the whole idea of him. In this incident with the 17-year-old that came over to his house, it was born out of the fact that apparently Ja Morant is so involved in the community that up-and-coming basketball stars in the Memphis area get his attention, and it's sort of like a crowning moment. Hey, come over and play in my game that I have in my house. It was kind of born out of wanting to be involved in the community. He has the 6th highest selling jersey in the NBA as of January of this year. He's a very popular figure in the NBA. And kind of had a very squeaky clean reputation until these incidents started coming out. Amin came on the show and said, hey, there's kind of whispers around Ja Morant, around the league, about and cited other precedent. And all of a sudden now his reputation completely flipped in 4 months. He was kind of bravado, and his quote of the year beyond what's happening right now was, we don't have any problems in the West. Basically saying, we feel like we're going to run through the West. Our problem is Milwaukee and Boston. And then since then, they've kind of been bad, and the Shannon Sharp thing happened, and then they're even worse after that. But his reputation was not really this until this happened. And I don't think this is by design either. I think this is something of a secret life that has spilled into the public.
He's 23 years old, and I don't know if there had been. I heard somebody say this, but I had not verified it for myself, so I don't know if there have been interventions on. This happened with Iverson, Stugotz, because it's become now the conversation has become about the crowd that Ja Morant is hanging around with, and who are family members, and you got Shannon Sharpe lecturing him on television. Shannon Sharpe, the same guy who tried to fight them, lecturing him on television about you're not this person that you're pretending to be. Memphis Grizzlies, that wasn't professional wrestling. Theater though it was, ridiculous though it was, Shannon Sharpe tried to fight the Grizzlies earlier this year.
Right.
And got into a back and forth with.
Funny sentence.
It's unbelievable, really. I mean, we just sort of skipped right past it. But on the resume of incidents this year for the Memphis Grizzlies is trying to fight Shannon Sharpe courtside at a Laker game. As Memphis tries to wrestle the league away from LeBron, too. Like, this is at the heart of sports, Stugotz, and the heart of sports storylines. Memphis would be a really cool story if you could get behind the idea that they seem to not mind being villainous as
They actively seek it out.
as a team. And
Feels forced, though, right?
well,
a little bit.
I mean, and what they're doing to the Warriors is
Well, there is a cultural identity with Memphis to the hip hop. If you watch their games in the arena, Memphis does have an edge to it. And that team, for as long as we can remember, has kind of embodied that on the court. That's always been their identity and style. And the more, it's kind of like iron sharpens iron. The more you lean into that, the further you go down that path.
Billy, you haven't been yourself today.
I'm in looks like hell right now, if I'm going to be totally honest with you. That's all.
Tell me more.
I'm in looks like hell. I'm, trying to get things together. The tournament, Dan, I don't know if you're aware. It starts like next week.
Oh, we have a March.
Yeah. Yeah, it starts, I think selection Sunday is this Sunday. Yeah.
Next Thursday.
Yeah.
Next Thursday.
Well, the
When?
play-in's before that even, right?
XFL. That's an XFL day.
Yeah. Well,
No, I don't. Maybe not. I don't think we have another XFL Thursday.
can they
till
pick
week
the
5.
days they're going to play? I tried again this weekend. The XFL was just dreadful. The game that I watched.
Which game?
I watched Orlando against
yeah,
you
Arlington.
can't watch
It's not
Orlando.
showing Orlando.
Yeah, you can't
Goodness
watch Orlando.
gracious,
The-
what a game
They need
that
to be on the
was.
highlight schedule that you can only watch them like
Yeah.
on TV once in a while,
Stop
like
showing
on a Monday.
Orlando. Just stop
It
showing
was
Orlando.
a horrendous game.
You always watch the one bad game.
There
a
was like
week.
a minute and 45 seconds left until the half, and it was 3-3.
Yeah, why didn't you watch Battlehawks
Two
Defenders?
kicks. That's all.
Oh,
I found out one of the
classic.
kickers was the former kicker that went to FIU. Then he transferred
Oh,
to
yeah?
UM.
Margalis.
Yeah, he plays in Orlando now.
Yeah, so does Gerald Willis
Yeah. But man,
and
the
Charleston
XFL,
Rambo.
I don't think it's for me. I got to be honest with you.
Not,
I've tried.
I wasn't asking
I
about
don't think
the
it's for me.
Can you
Dan.
try-
Is it for
with-
you? Have you tried it yet?
Can you try with the Battlehawks and the Defenders?
I don't know when these games are on. I just change through the channels and it's like, oh, they're on FX again. So I go and I put on FX and then it's 3-3 every time I watch a game.
Billy, I was
Hey.
not interested in.
You asked me about the XFL.
I didn't know. I didn't care about your XFL opinions,
How
nor
extreme was your
nor,
weekend,
nor
Billy?
did I care about your March Madness hell or the looks like game. The thing that I think has you discombobulated is for all the people around here talking about football.
Yeah.
You've got some concerning news as it relates to your Tua jersey. Mike is wearing uncomfortably a University of Miami jersey. You've been covering your body, soothing your body all show.
Uncomfortably for who? Me or you?
You have to be cold.
For
It's
us.
freezing
No, I'm
in
good.
here.
I think it's for us.
good.
Uncomfortably
you can
for us.
Decommit from this bit. It's fine.
not a bit.
You did it long enough. It's cold.
Oh, Juju's pointing at his armpit area.
Yeah, well,
Sweating.
it's
I always sweat.
dangerous game at certain ages to wear
Better today.
Wow.
that. Oh,
There-
wow.
that's not fair.
claim.
There isn't.
Oh my
Better
God.
There is not.
Better
What a
Grajo.
claim.
What does that
That
mean?
is
That
it's
means-
bad body
oh,
odor. The claims of bad body odor.
You're
have been
laughing.
made
You're
now.
laughing because you know what you did was unfair.
That's crazy.
No, that's bullshit.
No, better Grajo is
No,
a
I
funny
don't- I
phrase
don't smell.
always.
No, I don't
Just
smell.
when you get a chance to say it, you got to say
You,
it.
Yeah.
you stink like body odor is a wonderful insult Spanish. Tiene peta grajo.
Not he. The room has Betegrajo. I'm not saying it's Mike. You know, he's not wearing a jacket and he has the exposed underarms today. I'm not saying it's
You
him,
have
though.
not been
What are
yourself
we talking
because
about
something's going on with your Tua jersey, and I don't know what's going on with your Tua jersey.
Well, I had it framed this weekend, Dan. The Tua jersey, the famous Tua jersey that I had a whole ordeal with. Do you remember that situation where I got it and then I had to return it? It was the wrong size. I got it after the big win over Baltimore. Then I wore it to Moss. There's some crowd surfing. I got it cleaned. Then we went to Radio Row and we had an interview with Tua, which
It went well.
yeah.
And so you retired the jersey?
Well, no. So okay, the Tua. We never talked about the Tua interview after the Tua interview happened. I don't think.
That's right.
We were all scarred.
I felt bad about it, to be honest with you, to the point where I was trying to look up who to reach out to apologize for, like just on my participation in it. Because like I got, and I didn't even know this until I got to the airport the day of it, because it was the last Friday of Radio Row. I didn't realize that there was a clipped version of me asking him about Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins and if they should have been charged for his murder when he was alive. And I did that in jest to
People didn't like that question.
Well, I did it in there was context missing, okay? I did it in jest to try to lighten the mood because he was hit with that murder thing.
You were the
right
one that
before.
removed the context from the conversation.
No, I didn't.
You just casually asked
No,
him.
I followed it up after Dan brought up the murder and the concussions and the doctor. So then I tried to lighten the mood up by saying, hey, aren't you glad that they didn't get charged with that? But if you weren't watching it and you just saw it like on Dolphins Twitter, you just saw that clip and it's like, wow, like this is out of bounds, which I felt bad about it, and I wanted to apologize for that. And people were like, he canceled all of his interviews the rest of the day. He disappeared into like a bunker somewhere, never to be seen from again. It was because of you guys. You guys ruined that interview. Even though he then went and he did Slow News Day and he did some stuff with SI and he did some other stuff. There were some interviews canceled. But what you guys don't know, or I don't think you know because we've never talked about it. So like when he was done and allegedly like really upset with us, he was very pleasant on the way out. He like laughed. He said, hey, I had a lot of fun. Thanks a lot, which could just be him being polite. And then he reached over to the table, grabbed a Sharpie and signed the jersey. Like I wasn't going to ask him for it. I wasn't, because I was like, this went horribly wrong. This was a bit of a bad interview, a bit presumptuous on his part.
I think we told him to sign the jersey, though. I think part of that was like, sign his jersey.
Oh, Juju says he has it on video. So, no, Chris had asked him joking. So he then ended up signing it. So I was like, well, I can't wear it again. It's going to get messed up. So I thought it'd be nice to just frame this jersey, put it up, whatever, right? Then when I went to the frame store this weekend, because I hadn't gotten around to it yet. No, I went to one on Kendall that was next to the place where my
Tony,
dogs
go
were
sit
getting...
in the penalty box.
Is it
Go
not?
sit in the penalty
That's
box.
a good
Tony, go
question.
sit in the
That's a
penalty
great. There's
box.
a great framing place on Bird and 37.
Go-
No, I go to the one that Billy goes to.
No, which one do you go to?
Which one is that? The one in
with
Kendall?
the one by the.
Oh yeah, right there by Muhammad Breeze.
Yeah.
You guys haven't mentioned... Yeah, well, so I tried to go to that one.
That one's
right
good.
next to the Petco, right? I tried to go to the one next to the
Yeah.
Petco. Yeah, but guess what?
What?
They merged with another framing
No.
store. They're not there anymore.
Huh?
Yeah, so
The
I
dude with the
looked it up.
ponytail.
Not there anymore. They merged to another one, so then I had to drive further down on Kendall to go to one. I think it was Frame Art is what it was, and now it's Frame
yeah.
something
So-
else.
That one's
I tell
good.
you 30-minute framing.
Why are you still in there, Tony?
Oh, sorry.
That was my framing place.
Yeah, well they don't frame. They
There's
they
a good
merge.
one on. There's a good one on Brickle.
Is there?
I'm not going up.
It's
there.
probably
penalty.
underwater half the time, I'm telling you. Brickle needs to figure that situation out. So anyway, so I go to the other one on Kendall, which is not too far away, like 10-minute drive, not even that, depending on the traffic. It's right by Old Town and Country. I don't know what it's called now. What is it called? It's in the same shopping center as the La Carreta on
Billy,
Kendall.
get out of here.
Horrible parking
Get out of here.
situation.
Go sit in
Wait,
Billy's.
hold
Go
on.
sit in
Can I
Tony's
tell
car.
you?
We have to hear the end.
Horrible parking.
If
Dan, you've
there's
ever
one.
been to La
Go-
Carreta
go-
on Kendall Drive?
go-
Across the
Horrible
street from Town and
parking.
Country.
So which framing place did you go to?
I went to the one in that shopping. Are you not paying
You're not
attention?
paying. This one's very easy
Chris,
to
go
follow.
sit in the penalty
so I
box.
tried to go to
Get in there.
Yeah,
Get in the
everybody's
penalty
been bad.
box.
Long story short,
Billy, get in
when
the
I got
penalty
there,
box.
No,
Billy,
Billy's making perfect sense. You keep interrupting him.
I'm trying to finish the story you
Yeah.
asked for. We
Yeah.
were talking about Ja Morant. We interrupted
Can't
with this
believe
for
that
some
framing
reason.
place closed. I'm so
they
bummed
merged.
out about that.
So I go there, and you know what the guy tells me when I go in there, as I'm giving him this Tua jersey to frame, he goes, "I heard today that he may not be on the team next year," and I'm like, "Well, I mean, am I gonna pay for this to be? I mean, I should. What else am I gonna do with it, right?" But he's not making me feel good about myself.
You're afraid the guy at the framing place has good information?
He seemed to, because he told me that, and then the other guy that was there kept telling me, he was looking at my jersey and kept telling me.
Framers, they know
yeah.
where all the bodies are buried. Framers.
He kept.
You're right.
At some point in your life,
People talk
anyone
in
who's
their
anyone
stores.
needs to
Yeah.
go to a framing place. And this dude, I know the old story.
Well,
He
there
was a
was-
framer to the stars.
Really?
Yeah, because he had frames of all the celebrities that he helped frame for.
That's possible. Yeah. So then the one was telling me that he found out he may not be on the team next year, and the other one kept looking at my jersey, telling me they should have added more padding on top of the neck collar because of it. And I was like, come on, man. Like, he's going through some stuff, the concussions. It's not time to make light of that situation. How much is going to be? So anyways, then I go back the next day. One day, it was very quick. Even though it said 30-minute framing, it wasn't 30 minutes. So I went back the next day. They did an excellent job. But when I get there, he tells me, I heard Tuesday's the day that we find out if Tua's on the team next year. And I go, how the hell does this guy know all of this
where
stuff?
all the bodies are.
And also, should I have just done this? Was it
No.
worth the expense? Should I have done it?
It was worth the expense. When I last went to that framing store, the person assumed that I was a soccer player because it was like the third soccer jersey that I was getting framed. Just like, these guys. And one of them was personalized to me.
If you don't mind me asking, how much did they charge you?
I gotta go.
Bit pricey.
Bit pricey. Well, you don't become framer to the stars by cutting corners.
You then start thinking back, doing the math in your head, trying
Actually,
to figure
you do cut
out.
corners. That's part of framing.
Well,
That's the whole concept.
I'll spend all night out in Venice, then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Now, Mike, we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Jess and Kate?
That's right. We're just here to ask quirky questions to grown men wearing their full uniforms without pads in a convention hall.
Oh my God, is that George Clooney? It is!
Baby once got you at the Roxy.
Come on now!
One shot at whiskey a go-go.
There we go! Now we're drinking to avoid temptations, but a job to do. Professionals with a drink or two. Just a thin bowl of gin, and then I'll be locked.
Pop a shot contest, courtesy of Under Armour. 10-day Tony, Chris, clean shaven Chris, Mike.
This game is more about this is an efficiency game.
They counted it.
spend all night out in Venice, then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica.
For real, how do you open it?
Racism, greed, trauma to brain and spine. And yet, I cannot look away. Heroes are dead. Science has their heads. Oh, is there no escape from here? I need to know. It eats my soul. Nothing stops me and Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell.
Schedule a parade during an NFL Sunday, you idiots.
It's human cockfighting. CTE prayer circles. They blackballed the black baller. They tried to end racism by stenciling it in the end zone. Billionaire boys using millionaires as toys. It's all immoral, all unethical. Ooh, the witching hour. Nothing stops the NFL. Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's Urban and Snyder and Flores and Gruden, but Kyler, but Kelsey, but Cooper, but Canton. It's cheating and tanking and bounties and banking, but parlays, but face paint, but promo, but weddings.
I'll spend all night out in Venice, then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Now, Mike, you know we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Jess and Kate?
That's right. We're just here to ask quirky questions to grown men wearing their full uniforms without pads in a convention hall.
Oh my God, is that George Clooney? It is!
Baby once got you at the Roxy.
Come on now! One shot at whiskey a go-go. There we go! Now we're drinking to avoid temptations, but a job to do. Professionals with a drink or two. Just a thin bowl of gin, and then I'll be locked in. After gin, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl. To the Super Bowl. Super Bowl. I mean, we have been locked up for a while.
Yeah, there's no rule against covering the big game and enjoying La La Land.
Wait a minute, it's the Walk of Fame. So much to see instead of the big game. And the traffic is bad on La Brea. So come on, join me poppin' tequila.
Get it!
I'm just here to drink and find Lewis Hamilton.
Hey guys, Brady, get a shotgun of beer or what?
I don't feel so good. I am genuinely fucked up right now.
To the Super Bowl. To the Super Bowl. Super Bowl.
Let's do another round of shots. One more round.
It's showtime, buddy!
Racism, greed, trauma to brain and spine. And yet, I cannot look away. Heroes are dead. Science has their heads. Oh, is there no escape from here? I need to know. It eats my soul. Nothing stops the NFL. Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's human cockfighting. CTE prayer circles. They blackballed the black baller. They tried to end racism by stenciling it in the end zone. Billionaire boys using millionaires as toys. It's all immoral, all unethical. Ooh, the witching hour. Nothing stops the NFL. Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's Urban and Snyder and Flores and Gruden, but Kyler, but Kelsey, but Cooper, but Canton. It's cheating and tank.
So what happened, Billy?
So I got the thing framed, and the guy says that we'll know tomorrow whether or not he's still in the Dolphins, which is like concerning because it wasn't,
So you did get it framed.
I did. I haven't figured out where I'm hanging it yet, though. It's big. It's kind of big. I don't know if you know.
That's a
that.
decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if he gets traded, though? I mean,
It's framed. What am I gonna do?
No,
at
you
this
you,
point?
you change the placement. If he's not on the team, then you probably put it in a
Well, that's
different
another
room.
hole in my wall. If I do that, should I wait to see? I mean, I could wait a day, I guess. If we're supposed to know tomorrow, then I know where to put it on the wall.
Where wall placement's a more important discussion than even should I or should I not frame it.
Here's the thing, though, that I was thinking because, like, I was then calculating, like, how deep am I into this? You know what I mean? Like, when you put the cost of the jersey in the free. I mean, he signed it for free, so I didn't have to pay for that, right? Should I also? I mean, I'm never gonna sell it, so I didn't need to go and get the little sticker put on it, right? I mean, I should have.
Of authenticity?
Yeah, well, now I can't unframe it to put the sticker of authenticity on it. I don't know why I said that.
Juju said he had the video of it. That's authentic.
Okay,
Like,
so
if
then-
we have that video somewhere.
Wow, maybe I can make an NFT and like attach that to the frame somehow. the
Profit
video
off
the
of our
thing.
terrible interview that we
No,
need to apologize
well,
for.
Thing is going really well. Let's see that.
I did think about apologizing, but then I also thought, and I don't know, Dan, if you've ever thought about apologizing after interviews, but I thought about apologizing for it. I couldn't figure out who to reach out to. And then I also thought to myself, what if they don't know what happened, and I'm now just bringing light to that situation, and I'm making them aware of said incident occurred, and they're gonna also be missing the context when they. It was a whole thing.
Do you have a picture of it? The frame?
No, I didn't know.
I would like to apologize on behalf of this show to Tua, his family, the Dolphins, and anyone who cares about Tua and Tuanon for how grossly we mishandled the entirety of that interview.
And I mean, yeah.
I was eating a sub.
Stugotz told me before I wasn't allowed to talk in the interview.
Why?
That's what was discussed before. I go, I'm a little worried about how this interview is going to go. I feel like it's going to head into the concussions real quick. He goes, Bill, this is off air, Dan, so you don't know this, but I'll tell you. He goes, Bill, Dan's name's on the show. This is one of those you're just going to have to sit out. Let it go where it goes. We only have 12 minutes with him. Yeah. Just got to go. You play the sub game, and then you got to see where it goes.
How many times have you told Stugotz you don't like being called Bill?
1,000. I mean, with him, it's just...
Sorry, Bill.
A loss, yeah.
Chrs Cote, it would appear
I was right.
Bill was laughing at you in the shadows there because what happened?
I got an email back from Jacob Infante. So this Will Levis thing, this guy tweeted out that he's deathly afraid of milk. And Dan just completely dismisses it. Reckless, if you ask me, what Dan did. So I sourced it. I emailed the guy that tweeted it. That's how sourcing works, right? My first source is the tweet. The second is the email response.
So just to be clear, I want to see you descend from a journalist. You are routinely okay. Fair enough. A fair rebuttal from Stugotz. But your father has worked 50 or has collected a check from a newspaper for nearly 50 years. Today, you came in here and you reported on a very popular Sea to Shining Sea international podcast. You reported that Will Levis is failing his interviews because he's afraid of milk.
Would scream at the sight of it.
You reported this, borrowing it from some person on Twitter who was verified, who had some followers, and now in order to confirm the story that seemed clearly ridiculous, you just reached out to the person and asked him if it was true or if he was trolling you?
And I feel really good about his response. He said, "Hey, Chris, appreciate you reaching out. The Levis milk story was satirical and simply took off in a way I wasn't expecting. Thanks, Jacob." Aha! You can say sorry now, Dan.
Yep.
Why would I be apologizing to you? It's what are you?
I'm right.
What do you?
No.
Satirical.
Yep. Do you know what that means?
Statistical.
Are you serious?
Wait.
Just apologize, Dan. Apologize.
Just apologize,
You know what?
Dan. Move on.
You're
Dan,
right, Chris.
apologize.
My bad.
Statistical.
I am totally sorry about that. I'm
That
sorry.
story did take off.
Man, 2 in 1 day, Dan.
Another story that took off, Stugotz, that
Way you did, Chris.
I had to check to just make sure it was true because it sounded like a quote that would fool an old journalist. The Kevin Durant quote on not caring about what Shaq and Barkley say.
Right.
He was quoted as saying to Vince Goodwill, "At this point, they are saying, go play with Scoot Henderson and win a championship, and then we'll give you credit. I don't need no credit from y'all." And I just thought to myself, poor Scoot Henderson. What did he do?
He's gonna be the second pick in the draft.
Yeah.
What did he do? What did he do? What did he do to Kevin Durant? That the only way that you guys don't do what I do, right? When I see him on Letterman with Letterman, see him smile, and I'm like, that dude hasn't smiled in 10 years. It feels like I don't.
He doesn't smile much. I mean, in your defense, he doesn't.
He does some funny things on social media. He is humorous.
He's also sensitive on social media.
He is, and that part isn't necessarily an act, but I do think that he does act somewhat. Like, I think he has a guard up, and he kind of embraces this persona that might not be on the money about him. He follows me on Twitter, so it's like we know each other.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know why, but he still digs it.
Mm-hmm.
Must love messy news. I don't know.
Does he follow me?
Kane's hoops takes.
Yeah,
He's all over it.
Yeah, he knows so much about Norm Chad O'Meara.
He spoke to me once on Twitter, KD, through Incarcerated Bob.
This is what we're doing now.
Yeah. Has he ever talked to you, Dan?
This is yes. Yes.
Really?
Wow.
He's talked to you?
Where?
On Highly Questionable.
Wow.
Wow, HQ.
So he talked to your dad.
That's what we're doing now. We're just gonna interactions that the show has had with KD is.
Who's
what,
the most famous person everyone's talked to? Ready, go.
I peed next to Braxton Berrios over the weekend.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stugotz, did you see how Creed 3 opened?
No.
In theaters?
I heard it's great. I haven't seen it yet. I have no idea what it did at the box office.
Biggest sports opening ever.
That's awesome.
Really?
Ever. Biggest. It's going to go over $100 million first weekend, both nationally and internationally.
Amazing.
It's the first one without Sylvester Stallone. And I think this is now, if it hasn't supplanted, it's right there with the Bond franchise, is it not? To be able to continue going across a series of like 10 movies. It's not quite 10, but for Creed.
You're not counting Rocky V, right? Of course.
Rocky V never happened.
Right.
I think they acknowledged that as canon, Rocky V did not happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's 7 movies in a collection.
It started in '76 with Rocky, and so here we are.
There was
and
Rocky, Rocky 2, Rocky
Yep.
3, Rocky 4, Rocky 5, which did not happen,
Mhm.
Rocky Balboa,
Yes.
where Rocky fights Mason the Line Dixon, then Creed, Creed 2, and Creed 3. So that's really
Amazing.
9, but again, 5 never happened, so it's 3.
Where
And
does
the
it
3 in
rank?
the Creed with the 5 Rockies.
If I were to
We understand that.
If I were to tell you, Stugotz, 2 Godfathers do not equal 9 Rockies. If I were to tell you greatest movie franchises of all time, because this is a real upset.
Everything starts behind Fast and Furious, Dan.
You could not have predicted
Mission Impossible.
Harry
I can't
Potter.
believe you put the Rocky movies in the same sense as the Bond movies.
Yeah, that's
that's
crazy.
preposterous.
Why?
I mean, James Bond. They will make James Bond movies for the rest of time.
Well, it appears they'll be making Rocky movies.
I don't know if you saw the
You
last
think it
one,
ends at
but-
Creed?
I don't know if you saw the last one, but they got some work to do on that front.
I mean, yeah, the last one was not a great movie, but they're going to keep making them. 007 movies will go on forever. It's a code name.
Did you see the last one? Did you see the last
it
one?
was probably an enormous box office success, I would imagine.
They're going to have to figure that part out. I'm just saying.
Okay, there's a new one. There's always a new one.
But I mean, if we're going in order, all right, everybody, don't listen if you want a spoiler. All right, but it's time.
No.
It's time.
No.
I'm going to reveal it. It was 2 years ago.
No.
It was 2 years ago. The thing that happened in the
No
most
Time to
recent
Die.
James Bond.
Bond.
Yeah, well, guess what?
He
Guess
had
who-
time to die?
Guess who found the time to die?
Huh.
Yeah.
I mean, but there's always been Bonds who die.
No,
No,
James
no.
Bond,
Bond.
the character, has never died.
Never
prior.
dies. 007.
Yeah.
No.
Ethan
Tom
Hunt
Cruise
has died
several times. Several
least
times.
twice.
Had
Had to be reanimated
In a movie. In
How
one
many?
movie.
Mission Impossible, how many have there been? 5?
There's been 6, and they're coming out with part 7, part 1. So I don't think that means there's 8 parts. I think that it's part 7, part 1.
Whittingham, I don't think it's ridiculous to put the Rocky catalog around where Bond exists on most successful movie franchises ever.
Creed was
most sustained movie franchises.
Creed was phenomenal, and it had critical acclaim. Rocky, Sylvester Stallone got nominations for his performance in Creed, and Creed, I think, brought some more respectability because of how much critics liked it back to the franchise. It got a little campy towards the end. So
And
it's
now
one of the
they've
great
done it
movie
without
franchises.
Stallone. I mean, that's a big step. Doing it
Speaking
without
of campy,
Sly.
Speaking of campy, Ernest was scared stupid
That's
and
right.
went to
Yeah.
jail.
That's a good franchise, Dan. Ernest.
Now there's a franchise.
That's a franchise.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Juju.
Saw was a bigger franchise, I think. Than
How many Saws have there been? How many Bond movies have there been? Because
Too many.
Too many.
The Bond movies are a cultural export.
Oh, you're
like
not
if,
English, man. Give it a rest.
but like when we have
What does that
when,
mean?
when the Olympics
Export
are in
you.
Los
They're just
Angeles.
words.
When the Olympics are in Los Angeles, we will not see a Rocky scene during the opening ceremony. I can assure you of that.
What? What? That's the standard?
No, it's like
whenever there's a sporting event in Philadelphia, Rocky's running up those goddamn steps.
Yes, there is.
Every
the
time.
Philadelphia export. Fair enough.
We see it all the time.
What's happening?
The exporting is unnecessary.
James Bond is a fundamental part of British
Not
culture.
even-
There's not a like The
Please.
Godfather. The Godfather, I would certainly put in that conversation as part of American culture.
Ian Fleming would be rolling over in his grave. Is he with us? No, he can't be with us.
Uh-oh.
He would be rolling over in his grave to see what's happened to this once proud
I
franchise.
am rushing to check.
He might. No, he can't be with us.
Can't possibly be. How
Come
are they
on,
making more
come on.
movies?
He
The source
can't-
material's gone.
He can't be still writing. He would have been writing in the 60s.
Died in 64.
Yeah.
He died when my dad was 10.
He was born in 1908.
How
Quite
many
literal
Bond movies have there
Ghost
been?
Rider.
Because a lot of the Bond movies are bad, correct? You're
Yes.
talking about one bad Rocky.
Most of them. I would
look,
say
man,
most Bond movies are bad
They're
movies.
very satirical.
This is not.
There have been 25 Bond movies.
Oh, jeez.
This is not Tom Cruise saving Hollywood with Mission Impossible after the pandemic, but it's an upset for Creed 3 to open as the biggest sports movie ever.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, bigger than Space Jam.
And in the streaming age?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Bigger than Air Bud.
That's a franchise, Dan.
That is-
Air Bud.
You know what else? Police Academy. That is a proud franchise.
That's a franchise.
Good one.
when's the last one? Police Academy?
I don't know. They went to South Beach and they also went. Did they go to Moscow? I think they went to Moscow.
Chris Cote, are you the only one around here who saw Travis Kelce on Saturday Night Live? I saw good reviews for him.
I saw clips, and what I saw didn't look great. It speaks to how just hard that is to do. I'm not criticizing Travis Kelce. He's a football player. But he gives off, if any football player gives off just like charisma, and if anybody you think would be good at that, I would think Travis Kelce. And the clips I saw, it looked didn't look great. I don't want to be a jerk. I like Travis Kelce. I'm just saying what I saw, the clips looked a little stiff.
He was great. He was fantastic. I still haven't watched it, but I see him in Tahoe, and I want to be cool with him.
That night,
So proud of
because
you.
some of you did see Chris Rock, I did not.
That's a big upset. Huge upset. Yeah. That's like me. That's missing the Super Bowl. I don't understand.
I will tell you what it is. It's that I had one of those CBD gummies for sleep.
Oh.
And there was no coming back from it. I couldn't. I was trying to stay awake.
Odd time to take it, though. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, this is your Super Bowl.
I just didn't think it was going to hit me like that. It was
Sure,
not
the
my
6 tequilas had nothing to
It
do
was
with
not my Super Bowl.
When are you planning on watching it?
I'll get to it.
You know, you can skip it.
Now you're paid and
You can
placing
skip
it?
it.
I'm getting to it.
I will get to it. But
What is your Super Bowl, Dan?
The Super Bowl.
Oh.
No.
But you treat it with such
No.
derision.
You
It's
hate
not
the
your
Super
Super
Bowl.
Bowl.
The game itself. You saw that the numbers on the game were better than even previously anticipated. That 60% of America was watching that football game. Like
I'm surprised it's not higher. Like, what else are you doing? Super Bowl Sunday, which should be on a Saturday. We'll have that discussion another day. Glad I got it in, though. But what is everyone doing on Super Bowl Sunday?
You're surprised.
That should be 100% of the households.
You're surprised that 60% of America watching a football game. That you think that number is low?
It seems like the perfect time to commit a crime.
Does or for an alien invasion, which is why I was deathly afraid of that.
But if the aliens know that we're vulnerable during the Super Bowl, I mean, that's a level of sophistication. They will have studied us for a very long time.
They haven't been caught. They have technology that defies all logic. You think they've been caught?
Aliens have been caught.
Roswell
Let's be
happened.
real. Yeah.
Let my boy cook.
Yeah. This guy's onto something now. I like it. He's
What if
thinking the same
aliens-
things.
What if they've been caught and we already won that war, and that's why we haven't heard any more from the aliens?
Damn, I didn't even think of that.
Well, it's just if you're the president, you have to know, right?
Oh,
You
they
have to-
know.
Yeah. So, do you think like with Trump, they were just like, we can't tell him? Let's just pretend like there's none for this one. Yeah.
It seems like you could have given him more information than you needed to, because you know it's just going to come out, and it's just like he's just saying things. You know what I mean?
The night, Stugotz, of Saturday when it was my Super Bowl, and then after that,
Saturday night,
it was Travis Kelce on Saturday Night Live. Netflix was groundbreaking. From what I read, there were no glitches. They successfully pulled off a difficult to pull off live event between California and Baltimore, and made fun of themselves for being the groundbreaking thing that produced a Saturday night comedy show live.
It was just a television show
Mhm.
where they did a pregame, they did a postgame. ESPN does this like with college basketball on a Wednesday night. It's not that complex.
But what I read about, and it made me think of you, Whittingham, because you're very careful with your word choices, and stand-up comedians do a great deal of sculpting, and the live show risks something. There's a lot of pressure on it. I did read that Chris Rock blew the joke that he spent a year to get to, that he blew the punchline on a joke that took a year getting to, and what I was reading about it without having seen it is how angry Chris Rock still is a year later, that it sort of is less than funny when you're hissing anger, that it becomes slightly less funny when you're not putting some clever on it, where you're still clearly hurt.
Yeah, I think he was clearly bummed that a number of people have taken shots at Will Smith for his relationship with Jada Pinkett Smith, and yet he was the one who took the brunt of it, of all the people that have been said. And it gave off that he's hurt and he's sad that he lost a friend. Clearly, he didn't want to say I was Will Smith's friend, but he was kind of intimating. I backed him. I've been so happy for him. He was Will Smith's friend.
But he's allowed to be emotional about it. Like, it's
I
almost
agree.
like he's owed this. Like,
no, he should
have...
move on and get over it, seriously, because his friend did him a favor. It was a year build-up to that special on Saturday night. Who the hell is talking about Chris Rock unless Will Smith does that? You know what Chris Rock did Saturday night on Netflix? He choked. I mean, he overthanked.
You literally choked through that sentence.
I know I did. But he choked, okay? I'm expected to choke. He's not. He's expected to nail it. He did not nail it. He appeared to be nervous. Here's the key to comedy. Don't think so much. And when you're sitting on a joke for an entire year and you have to deliver it, chances are it's not going to go well. It did not go well for Chris Rock.
Did you watch it?
And he looked old. No.
Did Kareem go after him in the post game? Like, what happened?
What was the post game like?
Yeah,
I didn't see that.
What was the post game like? Did they break down
I
the-
saw a tweet that said Kareem was not as comfortable with being touched as Spade and Carvey thought he was. Like, they were just like, they were just like buddying up to Kareem, and Kareem wasn't feeling it.
Why would they think that, though?
Are we going to just skip past Stugotz telling Chris Rock, here's the key to comedy?
Well, he did choke, Dan. I mean,
But Will Smith didn't show up at the end? Damn, that didn't. Remember I put a bet on that?
Yeah, he took that
Tried
one.
to. Yeah.
Underwhelming, I guess, is the universal reaction to it. It's not.
I've watched
rampant.
half of it, and I've also digested the clips on social media about the Will Smith stuff. I haven't laughed once. I haven't laughed once so far.
The Travis Kelce, the reason I was bringing up both of these things as your entertainment options Saturday night, Stugotz, is because we were talking earlier about Jon Stewart's been doing a show for a while with Apple. Jon Stewart's the top of the food chain on these daily shows, but because people tend to be creatures of habit, the daily show with Noah, Trevor Noah, ends up being a cultural marker that Jon Stewart, who's making still very good television, is still doing it in the shadows as, the streaming landscape changes, and Apple's doing a lot of good things. They're doing a lot of expensive things. And evidently, late in life, Jon Stewart, these shows are very hard to do, Stugotz. They are draining, super confusing. What John Oliver does every week takes writers 60 and 70 and 80-hour weeks in order to make that everything that it is. And so Jon Stewart, when he's doing that, has rededicated himself late in life, with nothing left to prove, to just being righteously indignant about everything that's going on in this country. And so much of it avoidable, so much of it corrupt. And he's doing legitimately healing good work, not just artistically, but trying to help people who need help, people who deserve help. And the sound we played earlier in the show, he undresses this Nathan Dom.
Who says, by the way, on Twitter 3 days ago, he tweeted, Nathan Dom did, I enjoyed my conversation with Jon Stewart so much that I'd like to continue it in a live and unedited format. I guess he's claiming that he was unfairly edited. And then he thinks that this is a good idea. Maybe we could get at Joe Rogan to have us on his podcast together. How's that, Jon Stewart? Does he think that Joe Rogan's going to be on his side? Like, Stewart and Rogan go way back, don't they? Okay, you want to have another go at this?
Well, I don't think that anybody wants to debate Jon Stewart on gun laws, but I also think that this clip went viral, at least in part, because we're all fed up, Stugotz. Like, Jon Stewart speaks for just about everybody. I'm like, what are we doing?
He cuts across, like, all the hypocrisies because he's not, okay, I'm not crazy about guns. I don't want to ban guns. I just want to do more. And most people want more done. And yet we're rolling things back. And he's talking about the hypocrisy and being about back the blue, yet you make police officers' jobs much harder by deregulating a lot of these things. Here's a clip that touches on that.
I don't understand why you won't just admit that you are making it harder for police to manage the streets by allowing all of these guns to go out without permits, without checks, and without background stuff. Why is that hard? Why can't you just stand by that?
Because that's not what I'm doing. I'm defending the individual's right to keep and bear arms.
That's a different argument.
Okay, but
you may do. Here's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
You want to say I'm a Second Amendment purist and I'm making it safer. You're not. You're making it more chaotic, and that's not a matter of opinion. That's the truth.
That is a matter of opinion, John.
But why take away their tools?
Because certain of their tools that they're using would be infringements upon the people's right to keep and bear arms, upon their constitutional rights, upon due process,
you're saying
upon other things.
That registering is an infringement?
Yes.
Okay.
And there was a lot of the same talking points that you've heard from one side of the aisle, or Second Amendment absolutists, and it's people that are the problems, not guns. And this is how Jon Stewart handled that on the problem on Apple TV+.
One of the issues, a contributing factor, again, I believe it's the individual that is the problem.
So your solution to that is give them more guns.
So I'm saying that because people are the problem, we need to look at the problems that those people are facing and how do we address it.
But you've removed the ability for the state to do that.
No, because you're...
If you don't have background checks,
mm-hmm.
and you don't have registration and permitting, how do you know who has a problem in terms of the people who you're giving a gun to?
Do you want to talk about the background checks first, or do you want to talk about solutions first?
I want to talk about what you're doing is you're bringing chaos to order.
That's your subjective opinion, that it's bringing chaos to order.
It's not my subjective opinion. We have 50,000 gun-related deaths. That's not a subjective opinion.
Okay, so
that's dead people.
And a new talking point is people... whenever you have this, it devolves into Chicago violence, or what about drag shows, or what about fentanyl? And Jon Stewart was prepared for that counter too.
You want registration, maybe a wall, maybe not a wall. Why do you want that?
Well, one of the reasons is because the fentanyl crisis.
Right.
I mean, okay, but
you don't know when it's coming across. So what do you do?
But the fentanyl crisis is twice what the gun death crisis is.
Okay, so until the gun crisis gets to the fentanyl level,
not until it.
You don't want to bring order.
No, not until it. But
do you see my point?
If we're going to talk about protecting lives, that's a larger issue in America than guns is. If we're talking about individual lives of ways that they can be protected, loss of life in America, there's loss of life through fentanyl. There's loss of life through obesity. The obesity crisis in America costs 6 times the number of lives as guns.
Right, and so, you're the guy saying, you know what would help this? Ice cream.
No.
I think one of the best points, and we haven't played that clip, one of the best points is, okay, you're arguing that more guns will eventually keep us safer. But when does that start happening? Because gun violence has only risen as we make it easier to get guns and we ease regulations. He's asking, when is that tipping point? When do you have data to back up that good guys with guns keep us safer? Because so far it just hasn't happened yet. As a argument, it's a fallacy. It has no success behind it. Where's the data point that suggests this? They'll cherry pick one argument here and one argument there. Here's this good guy with a gun that stopped it. And it kind of undoes every logical argument about how there have been several good guys with guns that don't necessarily end up mattering in these instances, especially as we have these weapons that are weapons of mass murder now. And in this state of Florida, I'm a little worried because now they're trying to push through permitless carry, and it's scary. And we are under a form of tyranny, like Jon Stewart mentioned. We did a show 2 weeks ago where I said, now when I go into a public place, ever since the Bataclan Theater, I look for exits. That is a form of tyranny. Our lives have been so altered by this thing that is happening in our country more than anywhere else. We're not living our lives carefree in the way that we used to because of how we approach guns.
And the weird thing is that 20 years ago, when this happened on September 11th, there were all kinds of measures put in place that I think have, at the very least, pacified us in terms of how we travel through the air and have largely dealt with the problem, probably overzealously dealt with the problem, and have probably taken a few steps too far. But there were measures taken. It's bizarre that with all of the gun violence, we have the statistics that a state wants to go the complete other way and go to permitless carry. That's what our leaders in the state of Florida think that's what their population wants. It's incredibly strange to me no one's asking.
No one's asking. Gun owners, everybody wants. It's a overwhelmingly popular opinion. That's not necessarily political. People want to make sure gun laws are safer in this country, and yet you have one side of the aisle that refuses. They double down on this, and they lean more into whoever is lining their pockets. And you have another party,
Mike, the people lining their pockets is the NRA. That's the problem. We all know that. That's the problem. The guy knows. The guy being interviewed by Stewart, he knows the answers. He knows what he's saying is a bunch of shit, and he's just giving Jon Stewart something so we can give him something.
Right. And the other side, the Democrats play the same game. It's like, okay, well, vote for us and we'll initiate change. And there hasn't been change. And meanwhile, the politicians that are supposed to enact the will of the people trample the will of the people. Most people want this. Most people want just us doing more. Look, when 9/11 happened, we did a lot of sweeping change, and we took off shoes. We're not taking what is the equivalent of taking off shoes for gun control? Can we at least do that? Let's do a little bit more.
The conversation went dark and heavy here when I believe the highlights of today's show, I don't know which is the more irrelevant thing shouted at the sports sky, whether it was Tony shouting, "They're grown-ass men," and he's one of them, or it's Stugotz again and again chirping, "We have a march."
Oh, do we ever?
You can say that every year.
No, we have a march.
Not every year. Canes are in the tournament, going to be like a 2 or a 3 seed.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure in March of 2020 we didn't have a march.
Yeah.
That's actually true, probably.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great point.
This might be the first March in a couple of years.
We had a lot of marches in 2020, to be fair.
Yeah.
I'll spend all night out in Venice, then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl. Now, Mike, you know we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Jess and Kate?
That's right. We're just here to ask quirky questions to grown men wearing their full uniforms without pads in a convention hall.
Oh my God, is that George Clooney? It is!
Baby one scotch at the Roxy.
Come on now!
One shot at whiskey, a go-go.
There we go! Now we're all drinking to unavoid temptations, but a job to do. Professionals with a drink or two. Just a thin bowl of gin, and then I'll be locked in. After gin, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl. To the Super
much to see instead of the big game. And the traffic is bad on La Brea. So come on, join me in popping tequila.
I'm just here to drink and find Lewis Hamilton. Hey
guys, need a shotgun of beer or what? I don't feel so good. I am genuinely fucked up right now.
Showtime, buddy!
Racism, greed, trauma to brain and spine. And yet, I cannot look away. Heroes are dead. Science has their heads. Oh, is there no escape from here? I need to know. It eats my soul. Nothing stops the NFL. Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's human cockfighting. CTE prayer circles. They blackballed the black baller. They tried to end racism by stenciling it in the end zone. Billionaire boys using millionaires as toys. It's all immoral, all unethical. Ooh, the witching hour. Nothing stops the NFL. Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's Urban and Snyder and Flores and Gruden, but Kyler, but Kelsey, but Cooper, but Canton. It's cheating and tanking and bounties and banking, but parlays, but face paint, but promo, but earnings.
I'll spend all night out in Venice, then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Now, Mike, you know we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Jess and Kate?
That's right. We're just here to ask quirky questions to grown men wearing their full uniforms without pads in a convention hall.
Oh my God, is that George Clooney?
It is!
Baby wants scotch at the Roxy.
Come on now!
One shot at whiskey a go-go. There we go. Now we're drinking to avoid temptations, but a job to do. Professionals with a drink or two.
Memphis goes hard. Memphis goes hard. Memphis goes hard. Memphis goes hard. Goes hard. Memphis it's hard. Memphis goes hard.
Waiting for Ken, trying to hook him up here.
Goes hard. Memphis goes hard.
Waiting for Ken, trying to hook him up here.
Akbar Bahia Mia. Bahia Mia.
They're the defending champs.
All right,
Jeez, I'm going to
go sit in the penalty
What
box.
happened?
Goes hard. Bahia Mia. Goes hard.
Waiting for Ken. Waiting for Ken. Waiting for Ken. Waiting for Ken, trying to hook him up here. Ken, you with us? Ken, you with us? Kenny. Waiting for Ken. Ken, you with us? Kenny. Waiting for Ken. Kenny.
Goes hard. Bahia Mia. Bahia Mia. Goes hard. It's hard. 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 Hard.
Kenny. Kenny. Waiting for Ken. Ken, you with us? Ken, you with us? Ken, you with us? Ken, you with us?
They're the defending champs.
All right. I'd like an answer, Stugotz, to a couple of things. You were yelling into your phone for some reason. You shouted I just heard the sentence, answer the phone, you bleep. And it made me think, Juju, put this on the poll, please, at LeBatardShow. Do you answer the phone anymore? And I thought about this weekend while leaving a voicemail. This is how it ended. Oh, nobody leaves voicemails anymore. Because I realized while I was in it. So put this on the poll as well at LeBatardShow. Do you ever leave voicemails anymore? But Stugotz, during the break, it wasn't just answer the phone, you bleep. It was also this conversation, not making it up. Me asking Stugotz, how do you feel comfortable not having seen the Chris Rock special accusing him of choking? And his response is, Dan, there was a pregame show and a postgame show.
That's it. That's all I need. If it didn't have those things, I'm not certain I could call him a choker. In fact, I wouldn't. But since you're going to pose it as a sporting event with a pre and a post and an in-game, yeah, you choked. I mean, he came out on the field and he absolutely choked, man. It was bad. I expected more from Chris Rock. Uber confident Chris Rock with a year to think about that material choked.
But you didn't see it.
No.
Do you
but
even
there was
know,
a pre and a post. I mean.
Do you even know the manner of the choking?
No.
Were you even listening to our show closely enough to understand what it is that he choked on?
Pre and post. Gagged. What a terrible job by Rock.
It is amazing. It's no.
It happened in March.
Oh, do we have a March? He was nervous. I mean, he appeared to be nervous in the parts that I didn't see. I mean,
you have claimed a couple of times now that he appeared to be nervous, and you haven't seen any of it. You haven't watched any clips.
I'm getting to it.
I don't really. I haven't seen. I've seen only about 15 minutes
seen
of it. No, it's just whatever the haze was. I've been having trouble with my sleeping. I'm trying to rectify my sleeping. Billy was asleep at 9 p.m. the other day. I don't think
What do
he
I have to do with this?
Well, because we're all in a. I've never been the person who needs to go to sleep at 10 or 11 because I need to get rest because it's important.
We need you to rectify your sleep more than you need to. There's weird texts and emails that come in at 3:30 and 4:15, and I don't know your sleeping pattern at all.
Yes, it's not great, and I'm going to remedies to try and fix it, and this one bulldozed me during the middle of the Chris Rock special. I only saw the pregame, and I'm like, why is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar there? Why is he dancing on stage with Arsenio Hall stiffly? I didn't see Spade and Dana Carvey trying to touch him too much, but I could see where Kareem would be uncomfortable with that.
Why would they try?
Just because they're being chummy. Well, you saw this. You guys all saw how even Denzel Washington is turned into a fanboy when he's with LeBron James, right? You see it. This has happened forever. I don't know if you guys saw it on the sideline, but Denzel Washington is he's thrilled that LeBron James is shaking his hand in public. And they immediately go, the both of them, to the move that is really uncomfortable in public, and I can't imagine thinking this way.
It's the play. No. You mean covering your mouth, make it seem like you're having a great conversation?
Covering your mouth so that people can't read your lips on that conversation. Something LeBron learned down here when everybody was a lip reader when we were covering the 2010 Miami
It's like, this is so good. I can't let the people see this.
But back then, everyone was actually trying to read his lips. I don't think anyone cares anymore. I mean, I could be wrong.
He and Denzel immediately did it too by reflex, but he did it very aggressively because LeBron was letting him in on a secret, and Denzel was turned into, as a 60-plus-year-old, every teenager who marvels at the people who are doing stuff in the arena, that all of these people who are excellent, who love sports, say that's harder to do than what I do. The courage that takes to be able to be good at all that stuff it's harder than what I'm excellent at, and they turn into little fans as well.
Doesn't LeBron appear to be a fanboy also, though? That works both ways, right, of Denzel. Like, he's happy to have that relationship with Denzel, and he's happy to show everyone that he has that relationship with Denzel.
LeBron doesn't give out those conversations. Like, he won't do the thing where I'm covering my mouth unless he deems you worthy of it. Like, that's him being like, oh, I'm with Denzel right now. If he was talking to me on the sideline, LeBron's not going to be covering his hand. He's going to be like, why am I talking to this guy? If he's talking to a certain person, he's like, oh, we can do the hand thing now because everyone's going to want to know what we're talking about.
How do you know when LeBron's the fanboy and when he's being fanboyed? Like, the other day in a game, he went up to Patrick Mahomes and he talked about playing with a bum ankle, and he made a joke to Patrick Mahomes. Was he being a fanboy of Patrick Mahomes, or was he letting him in the circle?
I think that's 60-40. LeBron still has the bigger, it's more of a fan moment for Patrick, but it's close. That's close to 50-50 right there.
But he initiated it. Like, when he went up to Bad Bunny after he broke the scoring record, who was being a fanboy there?
Why not both? ¿Por qué no los dos? I think everyone there is. I think both people on that end of the exchange are fanboying. LeBron is incredibly popular to musicians and cultural figures, and it goes the other way as well.
Why'd you go Spanish there?
It's a popular meme. There's this little girl, ¿por qué no los dos? And then everyone celebrates.
I don't know about you, but I can't get the picture of Tom Brokaw blow drying his balls.
I'm still on Stone Phillips.
Yeah.
I liked him better.
Stone really got you.
I just because yes, it got me because he's a regal statue, and of course he would be confident in the sauna, and of course he would blow dry his undercarriage.
How about David Gregory?
I don't think you're going to do better than the name and the visual of Stone Phillips. The name Stone, a guy named Stone in television.
Ooh, it's probably Jim Cramer.
Whittingham, I don't
but
know.
Not through conventional means. Like, he pushes a button and like a bowl goes off.
You think that Jim Cramer walks into the locker room and he's wearing a towel, and not unlike Marilyn Monroe and the sewer grate, that he hits something that has an air hiss, blows up the towel, and also warmly dries his undercarriage.
Bulls or bear.
It
To be a fly on the wall.
White guys.
Yeah.
I mean, maximum Jim Cramer. Yes, of course it's white guys. It's Jim Cramer in a locker room. Of course.
I got Roker being very comfortable in this locker room, too.
There's something I don't understand what we're doing.
We're picturing what it would be like if Tom Brokaw were just blow drying his balls in the NBC locker room as Mike Sure walks in on him.
Somehow I understand. That part is something and Stone Phillips as well. The part that I really want to examine.
Oh, hey.
I want
Mike Sure just walked in.
You just
You
that's not a good
You
Brokaw.
what?
It's not a good Brokaw.
Breaking news. I'm blow drying my balls.
It's terrible.
It's
No,
a
it's not.
terrible
That's
Brokaw.
It's just a
good
news
Brokaw.
guy. It's a news
No, that's a good Brokaw. It's solid.
The thing that I don't understand what we're doing.
I base all my Brokaw impressions off Dana Carvey and doing Tom Brokaw. Let me find it. Gerald Ford. All right. I am blow drying my balls. These balls are the greatest generation. That's all I know about Tom Brokaw.
Okay, and again, I will tell you that the Tom Brokaw is not as good as the Stone Phillips. I'm not asking you for a
I don't
Stone
do a
Phillips
Stone Phillips,
impersonation, but you don't do a Brokaw either. Is my
What?
point.
I definitely do a solid Brokaw.
You have.
Yeah.
I agree. You have done.
You
have. You're not presently
Had to
doing
report
it.
Jimmy Carter is in hospitals.
The part that I don't understand.
Are you saying your name is better than his name?
Wait,
with Stones Phillip?
Are you still saying that I don't do a good Brokaw? It's a solid Brokaw.
I am trying to get the conversation back
Senator
to
Dole today.
Senator Dole is somebody who is in the middle of the conversation I'm thinking of, which is, I don't know why, but you're more comfortable with your nudity in this locker room than I am comfortable with your nudity in this locker room. And I don't know why there are certain old guys that we make this appraisal about, even though they are usually dressed when we see them. Senator John McCain, I imagine, was very comfortable around the locker room.
Yeah.
I always imagine him wearing a suit. 100. I imagine him in the locker room with a suit on.
Yeah, his penis wears a tie.
Did wear a tie. Put that on the poll, please.
I mean, still.
Juju.
She sells by the seashore. Just like warming up. She sells seashells
It's
by
not
the
a good Brokaw.
seashore.
It has been a good
Unique New York.
Do you have a Dan Rather? I bet you it's
No.
it's the same.
We cannot. No, it's Brokaw's jowly.
Still tipping on 4-4.
Whittingham, you've been bouncing on air. Okay, this is very unusual.
Pulling 4 Vogues.
And I would say that every time it's happened during a weekend, I can tell the difference in Whittingham's energy and spirit. Whittingham is one of the few people in the world, I believe, who likes going to weddings. Put it on the poll, please, Juju. Do you like going to weddings? But he loves the idea of love so much that he comes in here a palpably happier person after just watching somebody ceremonially, symbolically love each other.
Oh, it was a buoyant weekend for me, Dan. I got to put a suit on, put dress shoes on. I convinced the rest of the lads to put dress shoes on. Just a bunch of sharply dressed lads walking down the aisle in dress shoes. It was a grand occasion. The sun was setting. The moon was out. We were on a driving range, and it was beautiful.
A golf course?
Yeah, no, it was a driving range. They cleared it, and there was chairs there. It gave me allergies, so it looked like I was crying. I got like to have the Vince
It's a lot
Vaughn
cheaper
moment.
if you just have it on the range and there's people hitting and
It's just
half
it was
the
beautiful.
price.
It
Discount,
was
yeah.
green. It was magnificent. It was a great
Some
time.
would call it lush.
It was a great time at the cocktail hour. Magnificent. The reception made the speeches.
How many hors d'oeuvres?
so it was a wedding.
Yeah, it was a wedding.
Pigs
but
and blankets.
I love every aspect of it. I'm so happy. Yeah,
Some
crab cakes.
Crab cakes and ceviche.
I saw the bride and groom at one point were both wearing Jordans. Did you sign off on that?
No,
or?
I didn't. I was not happy. There was a whole
Their day.
There was a whole costume change to
Shish
Jordans.
kebabs.
Everyone that was involved was wearing Jordans. You go down to the very end wearing your uncomfortable shoes.
What is this? Quiche.
I actually went to a wedding too this weekend. Not that one. I wasn't invited. But I actually had a great time, and I made an observation. As I've gotten older, I
Did
realized
you have the sliders?
I actually did have sliders in mine. Delish. There's a certain person at a wedding that I think I used to be this person, but I've morphed into the person that hates this person now. It's the person that's overly enthusiastic about the after party. You know this guy at a wedding? There's always like one guy at a wedding that's like, where are we going afterwards? This one guy, it was wild.
Chris, you're that person.
No, I'm telling you, I'm not anymore. It's like I said at the beginning of this, I used to be that guy in my early 20s, but now I'm not that guy. And now I'm the guy that the guy flocks to.
They can rap dance.
He's like, are you ready for what this guy hit me with? He's selling this after party. He's like, dude, coming back to my house, it's 10 minutes from here. I got darts and Chick-fil-A. And I'm like, wait, it's like past, like close to midnight here. Chick-fil-A's aren't open. Did you cater? Like, what exactly am I getting here? Because this is a big commitment. If I'm going to go eat Chick-fil-A, I need to know if I'm getting a sandwich, nuggets. You can't just blanket statement, I got Chick-fil-A. It did entice me. I went to my wife, like, are we going to do this?
Deviled eggs.
Darts and Chick-fil-A in the after party.
Great selling points.
And
Really.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, if I was ever going to go, it would be with that sell. But I was like, I said yes to the guy. I think I even gave him my phone and we exchanged numbers, and then I just didn't go.
Seared scallops.
If I went all in on best hors d'oeuvre at the wedding,
The little tiny tomato with one piece of mozzarella on top.
you said scallops. I'm going all in with sliders. And I'm defying anyone in the audience to beat me.
I got one there, at this wedding I was at. It was fried mac and cheese lobster balls.
Wow.
It's an odd combination of things.
No, it's not.
How about tuna tartare?
There were tuna tartare tacos actually.
What did you have the most of what were you happiest to see come by a third and a second and a fourth time?
We can kind of all agree that the main course at most weddings not good.
Yeah, stinks.
So I just go ham in the hors d'oeuvres time.
That's wise. That's a veteran move.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I just go
Wait,
hard.
Oh, I thought you meant literal ham. Like
No. But this had a good spread. This one had sliders.
Pork
There was
belly.
sushi. There was, a nice charcuterie board. I think some stuffed mushrooms wandering around, but I must have had 6 stuffed mushrooms. I think I had 2 sliders. I had like 2 plates of sushi.
How did all these things come around multiple times?
You found the exit, is what it was.
It's all
right?
about placement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you found where they were coming.
You got to
out
do
of.
your work on the front end.
And you just give the people walking around with food, you give them a little, like, hey,
Little
thank
wink,
you so
yeah.
much. A little something, and they come back. I know how to play the game.
$10 usually works.
Yeah.
You gave him nothing.
Just some good friendly banter.
You're
Works just as
bribing.
well.
You're bribing the hors d'oeuvres people.
Of course.
I've never handed money.
That's a great strategy.
I've never
I'm gonna try it
handed-
next time.
Tip.
I've never handed money to the hors d'oeuvres person though.
Wow.
It's like an odd
But you have
transaction.
stood by the kitchen, or you've stood by the door where they're.
I know where they
bringing it
walk
in?
out of, Dan.
Any particular reason you called it charcutes?
Oh, that's a Tony move. Yeah.
Some crudité.
The charcutes.
Charcutes, little charcutes here and there.
Charcuterie board with
damn.
crudité.
Although it was a little muggy, so after a half hour, I don't know if warm cheese is exactly doing it for me.
I don't like it when the cheese sweats.
Yeah.
Billy, you said Dan.
I don't know.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate all your help as always.
Things move quickly, Dan.
Yeah, things are moving lightning fast.
He said Dan a couple of minutes ago, even seconds ago, and then the conversation shifted
Did
to
I say?
something
I
else.
don't even remember
Yeah.
saying it. Did I say Dan?
Somebody said my name as if they wanted to speak, but what difference does that make?
Who is responsible for the after party at a wedding? That really should fall on one of the groomsmen.
It needs to just be at like a local establishment near the place. I don't like come back to my house guy I just met.
Yeah,
like, hey, come back to my house. It's 10 minutes
Not
away.
even with darts and
I got
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A and darts, and I was like, darts didn't have me, but Chick-fil-A almost did. And I go up to I'm like, oh yeah, because I'm the guy. Oh yeah, we're coming. Oh yeah, I give them like we'll be there, and I'm telling everybody. I'll go around the room. I'll start helping you get the message out. When really, as soon as he walks away, I'm just like, I'm not doing any of that.
That's not a bad move though. Like if you're gonna blow the person off, at least you're making sure it's like well attended. Right. You know what I mean?
Until you see that person in Walmart 2 weeks later. Salute to Walmart, and now we got an opportunity.
Also, I think the guy listens. So this is gonna be weird. But I don't really know him, so.
But why are you doing this then? You control that you said this.
Like I said, my whole life's content.
Whittingham, you weren't crying, but you were delighted to be there. You stay a little extra. You love all of the symbolism involved with all of it, correct? And not just wearing fancy clothes, not just wearing dress shoes, but the whole thing.
I had some allergies, so I looked like I was crying even more than I actually was. But yeah, I had a sting in the eye.
That worked out well for you.
You dance?
Yeah.
Oh, did I dance? Really? Yeah.
Really? You cut it up, huh?
I cut it up.
Really?
I cut it up.
Oh, did I dance?
Yeah.
Do you like get the confidence from, because weddings, it's always like there's like the young people and then there's like the old people just sitting watching all the young people.
I love dance with the old people, flexing. They're like, I know disco music.
Oh, you're dancing with the old people.
I'm dancing
it's a
with the old
safe
people.
space. Yeah,
it's a safe space, but also like the next day, there was a brunch. Not to toot my own horn, but you know the in-laws or the other side of the family that I didn't know very well. They were like, oh man, this guy. He was star of the show.
Wow.
Star of the show.
Can you recreate some of that stuff? Can we?
Tooting your own horn. So you dominated the wedding. You feel like you came in and you...
with the older generation at the wedding.
Yes, you became friends with the in-laws.
I did. Cha-cha slide. Right foot, left stomp. Take it back now. Woogie, woogie, woogie.